He's Tony. I'm Mike. We're here to watch Roll Burn. This episode 34, is 1983's dance musical drama thingy Staying Alive.
Stuff.
Was
this
1983.
Wow.
Directed by Sylvester Stallone. Yes, Rocky, that man. Who co-produced, co-wrote, along with what's the name? Robert Stigwood and Norman Wexler, I believe is the name of this dude.
Sure.
Yeah. Stars John Travolta as Tony Manero again, because this is a sequel to Saturday Night Fever.
Yeah.
Also stars Cynthia Rhodes as Jackie, Fiona Hughes as Laura, Steve Inwood as Jesse, the director of Satan's Alley! Cameo by Kurtwood Smith, who is Red Foreman, and also in RoboCop, he is Clarence Boddicker.
Yes.
So that was interesting to see him at the very beginning of the movie. The dude's gonna put a boot in your ass.
Shove enough of this factory so far up your stupid wop ass that you'll shit snow for a year.
Yes. Directing dancers. And then Frank Stallone as Carl, who's a leader of a band. And then apparently Richie Sambora is a member of Carl's band.
That explains so much right now.
All right.
And then, Frank Stallone did multiple soundtracks for Stallone films. Let's get that one out of the way.
Okay.
He did other stuff too. But there's also a very, very brief cameo of the man himself, Stallone. When you see Tony Manero walking down the street, he bumps into somebody, and when that guy turns around, it is Stallone wearing the most regal fucking leather and foxtail jacket I've ever seen in my life. And he puts on his full Rambo flex action and then just walks on. Because when you're Sylvester Stallone, that's what you do. You walk the fuck on.
How did I miss that?
It's okay. I'll insert the clip right here.
It don't matter who you are. Anyone can be a star. Brighter than the lightning.
Fair enough. So let's see here. So this is one of the few films that has 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, which to Rotten Tomatoes, but I totally agree with that score. and while this movie has been long since forgotten, apparently at the time it was a hit.
Oh, it was a big hit.
But budget $22 million, brought in 127 worldwide, so that's a good success.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
well, it had a lot going for it, and this right here, I don't like here. Okay, the plot. Tony Manero leaves New Jersey in his disco dancing shoes behind, but he wants to become a professional dancer. He keeps getting cut after cut after cut, but he has this rage, this intensity, and he gets noticed by the director of Satan's Alley! And he gets cast in the role. Not the lead role, mind you. He's one of the few male backup dancers, but because he practices and he perseveres, he gets noticed by the director and he gets offered the lead because the man that director cast, he doesn't get it. He doesn't throw Fiona around like she needs to be thrown the around.
Well, he probably isn't to the female persuasion. But then also that Tony actually says, hey, I want to audition for this. So
yeah.
The director didn't say, hey, Tony, come up and do this. Tony pursued it with, what's her name's help? Jackie's help.
The lead that they had was very wishy-washy about it.
Oh, yeah. He thought it was a little too good for Satan's Alley!
Whoa! But anyway, that all being said, they get to opening. There's a bunch of interpersonal drama, and they get to opening night, and Tony Manero he owns it. He just sweeps the entire audience's breath away in 3 acts of a dance production that is like 20 minutes long. It took longer to get tickets to this fucking thing than it did to actually watch it. And then, because Tony has a stunning debut on Broadway, he needs to go walk it off.
You know what I want to do?
What?
You know what I want to do?
What?
Strut.
and he struts down the street. And that's the plot of the film. But there is so much stuffing in this film that we need to dig into. It's like a turkey on Thanksgiving.
Oh my god. This movie is a giant douchebag. Because that's what John Travolta is in this film, is a giant fucking douchebag from beginning to end.
You're not wrong.
Sorry, is everything all right? Everything is fine. She's in good hands. Hey, what are you, Allstate, pal? Yeah, you want disability?
About that at all. I'm just gonna throw that out there right now. And see, here's the thing. Saturday Night Fever was a huge hit. Mm-hmm. It was a colossally big hit. But Saturday Night Fever was intended to be a standalone coming-of-age film. And it is a very adult movie. And if you're like, oh, you mean that movie about disco? You haven't watched Saturday Night Fever because it's got very little to do with disco. Yes, there are scenes, and yeah, a lot of it takes place in a discotheque, but it's all about Tony Manero's growth as a person, going from being that young, all obsessed about just what he wants, to finally realizing that, you know what, when you're a small fish, or when you're a big fish in a small pond, which is to say the most talented dancer at the disco in New Jersey, and then real talent shows up, but your asshole buddies are like, no, buddy, you win, you're the best, and he has that realization of, I'm not as good as I think I am. And he gives the prize to the couple that actually earned it, that actually deserved to win the prize.
Yeah, because like you said, John Travolta in that movie is, he's a D-bag, he's just a young, cocky guy. He's cocky, but he's not quite confident. He's still a little insecure about some things and stuff like that, and that comes across endearing and things like that. It's like he's very relatable in that movie.
Yes.
In this movie,
Rhythm guitar?
That's the worst. It's absolute worst.
Well, I want to talk a little bit more about him in that movie, because not only is he dealing with his ability and his limitations as that ability and how hard he has to work, he's also dealing with meeting people from outside of the Jersey neighborhood for the first time when he takes on his dance partner there. And then it also deals with sexual assault and like the nihilism and the hopelessness of some people just don't make over the hump from being a teenager to actually transitioning to an adult. It deals with suicide. It all deals with unrequited love, because there's the girl that is in love with him and she decides to gangbang his friends because he won't sleep with her. And so there's a lot to unpack in that movie, and it's a brilliant piece of cinema. And if you haven't seen it because disco is lame, shame on you. You're missing a phenomenal film.
Agreed.
And this is how you don't do a sequel. This right here is the epitome of I'm a star and hubris from not just Travolta, but also Stallone, because he's got to take the full share of responsibility here. So, all that being said about how solid a film that Saturday Night Fever is, Staying Alive, I don't know what the movie Sylvester Stallone watched before he decided to sit down and co-write this script, but I wasn't Staying Alive, because you're absolutely right. He takes Tony Manero's character and turns him into this overly cocky douchebag. And here's the revelation that I had watching this not too terribly long ago, and then it's like going, we need to review this, so watching it again. That's twice in 6 months. That's
too many times.
All Stallone did was take the Rocky script, scratch out Rocky's name, put Tony Manero in there for every one of them, but rather than him being a dumb guy with a heart of gold, he's going to be a cocky asshole in every scene. And he's gonna rise to the challenge, man. He's gonna get the eye of the tiger, and then he's gonna go and he's gonna beat Danson's ass. And that is essentially what this film is. This is Rocky 7 for chicks. So
I wouldn't even call it that. It's like he took what he thought were the best parts of Saturday Night Fever. The wrong parts, and then just amped them up to like 11. And again, you have the whole thing again of unrequited love, where he falls in love with the wrong chick, and he's totally just dumping on this other girl Jackie, who's just
Jackie's
fucking
crazy
awesome.
hot. Yeah. So.
And not only can she dance, but she sings very well too.
And she's kind,
Yeah.
and she's thoughtful, and
Yes.
she's generous, and all this is demonstrated, and yet he has to hook up with Fiona, who is like this snobby. See, and this flies in the face of Saturday Night Fever, because the girl, his dance partner in that film, was upper crust and from the right side of town, and Tony Manero was seen as like beneath her.
Yeah.
And yet here's Tony Manero pursuing that exact kind of girl again in lieu of the girl next door that just happens to be really pretty wonderful person, and helps him land a role by helping him practice the dance routine and learn all the steps so that when he does audition for the director that he can actually get the role. This is the kind of woman you want in your life, the one that's all like, look, all right, you know what, you're a nobody, and this is a big thing, and this is a big director. I'm going to help you so that you are as prepared as possible. But no, let's go bone Fiona because she's got furry bed sheets and lots of pillows.
Right.
I don't get it. And let's be honest. You put these two women side by side. They're both very attractive. They're both built like brick shit houses. But at the end of the day, Fiona's whole snobby thing that she carries through
It's very ugly.
She carries it a little too well too.
Yeah.
I mean, Fiona made a career out of playing this upper crust. But so we have reverse character growth from Tony Manero.
Yes.
He had to learn a new set of skills as far as dancing goes. And the other thing is, if you watch, you brought up the whole bit with Red, which is playing during the credits at the beginning. If you notice, he's there, he's auditioning, he's staying in there, all these other dancers are getting cut. And it's not until Tony Manero showboats, he decides to jump over one of the other dancers, and right after he does that, he gets cut. And yet somehow, this is seen as a positive character trait for him. And then he goes and he bullshits his boss at the dance studio that hires him to teach dance lessons, and that's shown as, oh, he's charming and funny. Oh, Tony Manero, oh, mwah, I can't get enough of you. And so he is a complete douche nozzle.
Yep. Yes, he is.
But-
He is. And the showboating goes on even at the very end, where he does a solo when he's not supposed to do a fucking solo, but it just happens to work out for him this time.
And tell him to do a solo.
Yeah, it happens to work out because Fiona has been doing that whole box jumping thing that the CrossFitters do, and she got really good at it. She's like next level because that jump is physically impossible. Like she legitimately doesn't just jump long, she jumps high. She's like doing a Mario Brothers double jump. so down, left, right, A, B, start. So
That's Contra.
whatever, but you know what I'm saying. That jump was ridiculous.
Yes, it was ridiculous.
And he's lauded with a standing ovation, and
Yeah, all the wrong lessons were learned in this movie. There were no lessons in this fucking movie at all. None. Zero.
Yeah.
Zero character development. Zero anything. I mean,
reverse character development.
Yeah.
They undid stuff that was actually done in Saturday Night Fever and Tony's growth as a person, except for he finally at the end realized that he's best if he just walks the on by himself. that Manero should just start putting his feet in front of each other and just keep going that way. Here's my bigger question. See, what I would have loved the post-credit scene where, like, the reviews for Satan's Alley came in and they were all negative. And that just that just ends Tony Manero's big Broadway dancing career. But
then he goes on to be a writer and fucking write about, gyms in the
gyms
80s.
in Los Angeles and meeting Jamie Lee Curtis. But I will say this. John Travolta did everything he could with the script.
Yes, I'm not going to fault him. I am not going to fault him at all.
Yeah.
I'm not going to fault anybody in this film except for
Sylvester Stallone. Yeah.
Fuck you.
He just fell into this trap where he just decided to make like 3 movies, and then he decided to make those same 3 movies over and over and over and over and over and over again, until basically they had worn out their welcome at the cinema. And this is like legitimately, you watch this, all the beats are there. It's rocking, but for dancers, you know. And the sad part of it is Saturday Night Fever deserved a follow up. It deserved a sequel. And I would have loved to have seen what happened with that Tony Manero. I would have loved to have seen what was next in life for him.
Well, I mean, this could have been a natural progression. I mean, on paper, it's a solid premise, you know, to kind of go into this route. You know, he want to be a professional dancer. You know, like I said, make that next step. You know, out of Jersey into kind of more of an upper crust kind of a thing, because that's what he aspired to do. That's all fine. It's just executed so poorly.
Not just poorly, it's so pumped full of bullshit.
Oh yeah.
I mean, seriously. Like, okay, first off, he's so broke he's got to live in a retirement home and wash his clothes in a sink. But somehow he's wearing the fanciest duds all the time with his bullshit job as a waiter. You know. So yeah, in New York City of all places. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You know, no.
Also, New York City at that time was still a bit of a dump. It was just starting to come back.
Come back, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
But even then, on a waiter salary, like even if it was in a retirement home, like really, there's that.
the other bullshit thing about this thing too, and the big sin about this movie is heavily a product of its times.
Yes.
Broadway shows were huge back then.
Yes.
You had Cats, The Vita, like all those massive musicals that were coming out at that time. They're just absolutely huge. And then the awful, awful music, where you had, Bee Gees worked so great in Staying Alive. Well, let's do that again. But the Bee Gees didn't change with the times at all. Their music did not translate into the future. Their writing styles and all that stuff. All the songs were awful.
I was gonna say like were the Bee Gees. I check on this one because my sense of it is that Frank Stallone had a lot more to do with the music in this one.
Well, he
than
wrote
the Bee
stuff,
Gees
but
did.
no, Barry Gibb wrote a shit ton of songs for this movie.
Okay.
No, that's
Did he
fact.
Did he write the main theme song?
I am down, but I am far from over.
I don't know. All I know is that the Bee Gees were asked to write more stuff for this movie, and it does not work. Their music did not translate to the early '80s, and it was also kind of weird period of time when where adult contemporary kind of went almost progressive.
Yeah,
in a way,
electronica, if you will. So,
but very progressive too. At the same time, there's a lot of weird beats and rhythms and things like that they're trying to incorporate. And that genre of music did not last, and it did not endure at all. Which is the other big fault about this movie. And plus, that music, it looks like it was just laid over top of dancing.
Yes.
Whereas Staying Night Live, that choreography was done to that specific piece of music you were watching and listening to on screen. This obviously was not. It was just, here's them dancing. We're going to just plaster this music over this and hope it works. And God, it did not.
We danced so close to the fire.
Oh, shit.
Dance so close to the fire.
But that all being said, weirdly, and this is one of the reasons why I thought that this movie had come out a little bit later than that, was because you can see the MTV influence all over this.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to
disagree with you right now, but go ahead.
When you get to the actual show itself, it's very music video-y looking. Because they're all in Lycra and span. They look like the backup dancers for the Jackson 5.
Yeah, but you gotta remember, Solid Gold was a thing then too. So really, no, I don't think it's MTV. It's proto MTV. And really, this to me is more. It's just a product of its time. There was, like I said, big Broadway shows were already a thing. There's already people doing this shit. Yeah. So, yeah. But anyways, go ahead.
But yeah, no, I mean, and just to explore the other missteps of this.
There's a lot.
Give me some of your thoughts on this. I feel like I've been monopolizing this conversation.
No,
and I know you've got some pent up rage.
Well, again, my biggest piece we've already addressed. The de-evolution of Tony Manero.
Yeah.
The poor choice in music, the poor integration of said poor music, And the fact that the best part of this movie was completely wasted, and that is Cynthia Rhodes as Jackie.
Yes.
You know, who, that poor girl, she has such a mixed movie career. All of her films that she did were good on paper and should have been hits, but some were duds. Xanadu was supposed to be a big hit, and it flopped miserably.
Deservedly so.
Yeah. Flashdance was always a huge hit, but she only had a bit part in it.
Yeah.
Runaway.
Oh,
which
God, with Tom Selleck
Tom
and Gene
Selleck,
Simmons.
Gene
Yeah.
Simmons, you know, Michael Crichton book turned into a movie, and it flopped. And then she had a bit part in Dirty Dancing, which is great, but again, she had a bit part in.
It was a bit more than a bit part, because she was Penny, right? She was the girl that got knocked up and had to get the abortion.
Yeah.
So she was a hinged character, like the whole plot revolved around.
Yeah, but she
her
wasn't.
character
Yeah, but
in
she
it.
really wasn't in the movie. She
No.
wasn't like a main character.
She was a secondary character at best.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
absolutely
yeah,
right.
yeah.
But she gave a stunning performance in that.
Baby? Is that your name? Well, you know what, baby? You don't know shit about my problems.
And that's the thing. She does great in all these movies,
Yeah.
but unfortunately, the ones where she is a main character, the movie flops. Well, except for this one. This one didn't flop, but it fell into obscurity.
Yeah.
Because nowadays, you know, nobody gives a fuck about Broadway musicals anymore. Nobody gives a fuck about this music because the music is garbage. It's just a movie. It's such a product of its times that, and a shitty part of the 80s that people like to forget. And I had completely forgotten about until I watched this piece of shit. It's like, oh yeah, these were things. I forgot how bad this shit was. And then here it is, a slap in the face as a reminder. So, yeah.
I just want to say this, and I mean this sincerely. And I'm not like fucking with you or pulling your leg or anything here. As god awful as this movie is, as bad a sequel as this movie is, I have to confess, I am fucking entertained by this.
Ironically, I hope.
It's with a giant dose of irony. It is with a giant dose of irony. Don't get me wrong. But my sister was obsessed with this movie, and she played it over and
Which
over
one?
and over again. Tina.
Okay.
And
can see
I
that.
can tell you right now, I can reenact specific scenes from this verbatim, and it terrified my children. They're like, why do you know this? So I'm just going, I didn't tell him to do a solo.
And tell him to do a solo.
Yeah, so, way to go, Monero. I gotta get a better place.
I gotta go strut.
You know what I want to do? You know what I want to do? Strut.
You know what I want to do? You know what I want to do? Strut.
So,
That end. Fuck you, Stallone. Come on.
what, like something you do for breakfast? I usually skip breakfast. so yeah, I can date that. Look, you have a certain anger, this intensity that I need to make this show work.
What you have is anger and a certain intensity, and that's what I need to make this show work.
So yeah, I legit we did not just like watch this. I'm not like those. This is shit that is deeply embedded into my brain.
I'm sorry.
I love and hate this movie. I find it like it is like watching a really great car accident. It is one of those like, yeah, I see the limbs and the blood and oh wow, oh I think that was a foot, but I can't look away. And I weirdly I understand why it made ridiculous money at the box office, because there were a lot of boyfriends that were drugged to this shit. They had to pay their ticket price too. But I also understand why it completely fell into obscurity, because this kind of like Travolta's career kind of nosedived after this for a bit, and he didn't pop up back again until he did Look Who's Talking.
Yeah.
And then he like made it really big, proved that he really was, had legit action chops when he reemerged in Pulp Fiction. But this was the tail of his big bubble right there.
Yeah. But man, he knew how to like hit those trends.
Yes, he
Which
did.
we talked about multiple times.
Because he did Urban Cowboy right before this.
Yeah.
And weirdly, Urban Cowboy is such a competent film. Like I said, I don't know that I like it, but I can look at it and go, okay, there's craft here.
Yes.
This actually makes this engaging. I have no interest in this culture whatsoever, this subculture whatsoever, but I can sit through Urban Cowboy and I watch it and go, okay, yeah, I get where they were going with that one. This, on the other hand... This is like watching a really great house fire. Like you're standing there next to your neighbor, consoling them, and going, "Damn, you had a lot of stuff in there." And I feel dirty and wrong saying that, and even worse saying it on camera. But that's the high and low of this. I literally, like last year during like when everybody was still locked down and everything, I threw this movie on because I knew my kids couldn't escape.
That's fucking mean. Oh, that's brutal.
So yeah, no, I just need
Don't
to
do that to your kids.
look,
don't.
I was scarred. They get to have the same scar. We have something to talk about now. But now that we've cleared the air on that one, why do you think there wasn't a third Tony Manero movie? Was it John Travolta just noping the out because of what they did to the character?
But at this point, he's done so many movies involving dancing and this type of character that I mean, I'm sure he probably wanted to change the pace. And probably after a while this did well, I don't know how did it get in the reviews. I mean, it may have done that well review wise, and I mean, at some point, it's like Cheech and Chong. Cheech wanted to change. I think, John Travolta probably wanted to change and kind of want to get away from it for a bit. So I don't blame him there. Thank God there wasn't a sequel to this, and hopefully they never do a sequel.
But there legitimately could have been, and based on the success of this one, by box office numbers, should have been. As weird as that sounds, But
what was the next dance craze though?
Lambada. Set the night on fire. There was also Dirty Dancing as well.
Oh God!
So
this is our kind of dancing. We're just gonna grind on each other all night.
Yes,
that's all we do. And you know what? Dirty Dancing. You know what? I mean, for all the talk of Dirty Dancing, the old Dirty Dancing was in the dancers' cabin, and all they did was just grind on each other. That was it, and that's all they did.
Yes, but it was scandalous in the late '60s. They censored Elvis just a few years before for gyrating. So
I know, but it's just
it was.
But anyways, I think I pretty much expunged all the hate I really have for this thing, and I'll be honest with you, I really don't want to talk about it anymore. Is there any dance movies that are worth the crap other than Saturday Night?
Do you know go Saturday Night Fever? But like again, Travolta showed off his acting chops in Grease. He showed them off again in Urban Cowboy. Even though it was actually like it wasn't central to the plot, but he did get his sweet ass dance moves in there. Other dance movies, no.
Well, Flashdance. I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily a good movie. I haven't watched it since I was a kid, so I don't know.
Does not hold up well.
Okay.
So I'm just going to throw that out there right now. Breakin' 2, Electric Boogaloo, Beach Street. No. Dance movies, by and large, tend to suck. Because they're not there to actually have interesting characters. They are there to show off a dance craze and kind of shoehorn it into something that resembles a film. Mm-hmm. Like, how the is dance ever, like the thing that will solve anything except for a dance contest? Wait, I have one movie that's enjoyable to watch.
I think I know this. Go ahead.
It is Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
Okay, that's okay. The one I was thinking of was the one with Jamie Kennedy, where he falls into a coma and he wakes up years later and he gets his breakdance troupe back together for one last hurrah. I forgot what it is, but I'll throw it up here. It's actually funny. It's got a kick-ass 80s soundtrack on it, so. But that's all I got.
But yeah, no, Saturday Night Fever, everything, the 60s, 70s, like they did big musicals in the 40s and the 50s, and those are great, those are fine, but that's a whole different kind of, it's not, let's make the dancing a plot point. It's actually it's a stage production that's actually shot on film. in a big way. So it's very different. Dance movies like this, like without exception, I can't think of a great one.
Yeah.
And like Saturday Night Fever is the top on this one, and that is a great movie. But it's not a great movie because it's a movie about dancing. It's a great movie because it's about a guy who dances, and that's a very different animal than a lot of these other movies that came later than this. And again, there's Lambada, there's Dirty Dancing, Havana Nights. There is there are so many times that
Stepping Up.
Yeah, Step Up. Yeah, there's so many times that they tried to like get a dance craze. But the problem is that when a dance craze is hot, the amount of time it takes to actually write a script and do your casting and actually produce the film, and then market it and get it out there, by the time you've got your movie out, it's gone. The craze is over with, and people are like, why the hell are they making a movie about this now? That's the best I got for you on this. You know, alternatively, watch Bring It On. It's it's dance. You know,
cheerleaders.
Yeah, it's related relatively, but again, it's about characters who happen to be cheerleaders, not a movie about cheerleaders. So I got nothing else. I have said everything I came here to say about Staying Alive. You know, look, I am done, but I am far from over. So what are we watching next?
Oddly, we're still going to very loosely tie into this dance theme, and I'm going to dig up a gem that I know none of you motherfuckers have ever heard of. Is a super low budget film. It has sweet ass boots, some sweet ass dance moves. Motherfuckers die when you lose. Yes, the FP.
Oh!
The
Hell
FP.
yeah! Shit.
Go ahead.
I'm excited now.
Quick little spiel.
I have no spiel. I'm going to save it for the next one, but it is a underrated classic. I'm totally surprised. I was expecting revenge for making you watch Staying Alive.
No.
So, we will catch you next time on Tony and Mike Talk Shit About Movies. Episode number
34.
34 of Tony and Mike Watch the World Burn. Staying Alive. I'm sorry.